the benefits and risks. The benefits and risks. What are the risks? So the risks are most people who microdose, let's say in the form of capsules, there's usually 3 forms of ingestion. Capsules. The mushroom is usually dried. Sometimes it's blended with an ashwagandha or some other medicinal mushrooms. It's taken once every 3rd day. It's very structured. The second form of ingestion is normally an edible, like in mushroom, like a cacao or a chocolate. Third form of ingestion is drops, tincture, taking it under the tongue, small drops all the way to macro, dropperfuls. The number one risk from what we have noticed is you do sometimes feel fatigue. Because when the psilocin starts to work and it starts hitting those neurotransmitters, it can create some fatigue. If the user is diagnosed really bipolar or schizophrenic or a more serious mental health issue, they should not be microdosing. They should be in therapy with a doctor and under much more supervision. So we have a line where if somebody has been diagnosed, they're really diagnosed with a mental health issue, then we encourage much more involvement with the medical practitioner. Sometimes with psilocybin, people can get a slight headache. Not like a migraine or anything, but a slight headache. And I'm not qualified to comment on it. I do hear that from time to time. It passes, but it is something that does happen. If you do a microdose in the morning, because most people that microdose, it's recommended in the morning because microdosing is not to go to sleep. It's an activation, so an elevation. So, but you want it to be able to be done mostly in the morning. However, it's not good to have it too close to caffeine. So if people are having their morning java, their coffee, much better, do your breakfast thing and have your microdosing happen mid-morning. This is something that we're noticing people sometimes, the caffeine, when the psychoactive hits the caffeine, it kind of creates more anxiousness than necessary. It passes, but we're noticing caffeine and that can be a little more challenging. So pay attention to that. However, that really is pretty much, if the dosage is being properly monitored and you're using, a good point is psilocybin is a mushroom, but there are many strains, hundreds. We haven't found all the strains of psilocybin. And mushroom strains do different things. So if you want to elevate your mood, it's better to have a strain of psilocybin, in this case, that is more euphoric, more cognitive. If you're struggling with emotional problems, grief, heartbreak, you don't necessarily need to be microdosing a cognitive uplift. You need to be microdosing something that is comforting emotionally. Reishi, for example, a medicinal mushroom, very, very popular, very powerful, is a much better group of mushrooms, but I'm saying both with the psychoactive blended with reishi, much better for relaxing emotionally. Not everyone who is struggling with stress, they're dealing with grief or heartbreak or different types of trauma. They take their information in more emotionally than through the cognitive. The things all come together. My main point here, the main takeaway is at the end of this, just know many strains, ask what the strain is, what's the intention of the strain of mushroom that's being used. There are some strains are much more full body, much other strains are very cognitive, etc. So that's very important. It's an important thing to know. I think that the benefits start to be improved concentration and focus, particularly when the when the psychedelic is blended with lion's mane. Lion's mane's a medicinal, when it's well extracted, very nice blend, and tends to give people the mood. You get the mood elevation of the psychedelic, but you get the focus. Most of us, if we think about psychedelics or we ask our parents about psychedelics, it's all about spacing out. You're taking it to space out, but that's not really true. That's media speak. You really want to tap in. When you're microdosing, you want to function. You're not looking to do an altered state. An altered state is going into a beautiful setting, taking a higher dose, being in a safe place, being with friends, being with a teacher, being in an environment where you can not feel any pressure to meet your obligation. When we talk medicinally about microdosing, we're talking about improving performance. So if you're going to do your contemplative practice, microdosing is a great companion. Meditation, for yoga, biking, hiking, sport. You take little microdoses and you get the combination of the mood lift plus the focus, that your likelihood to perform better, to feel more relaxed, goes up quite significantly. Better productivity. You get into a flow more quickly. You kind of look at your day and you start to be more strategic. What are my pressures today? I got to talk with my boss. I got some deliverables. What's needed? What do I plan out the day? Definitely improve mood. Your mood elevates, and anyone that's not in such a good mood, kind of, you're not sure you're going to want to deal with them too much. Less so. Less procrastination. It's a great benefit. Many people that we're meeting, many clients and patients we're meeting, one of the big problems, particularly coming out of COVID, where there's been so much isolation, people are very procrastinating. They want to do, they want to go, they want to visit, but they just don't. They don't move. Great thing with microdosing, it tends to give you a little more motivation. Go make that visit, take that trip, figure out. Good for problem solving. More emotional awareness. Great benefit. Being more kind, more gracious, more forgiving is a great release. Better sense of unity, connection, more gratitude, and many other benefits. So I really do think that the benefits far outweigh the risks. Most important thing is, when you microdose properly, the downside is limited. You're not putting yourself at risk you're putting yourself in a relationship with the mushroom, and the fungi has been around a long time. It was here before the plants, So And there's an ethos that I think is very exciting for all of us to start to learn about.